Right, okay, so this is the next installation of the talking mock videos for your mock exams. Okay, so let's start. Question one, which of the following is a renewable energy source? Well, renewable means that usually comes from a natural source. So things like wind, geothermal energy, solar energy, um, tidal energy or tidal waves are renewable, which means they're from natural source. They can be replenished, and they release very small or zero carbon emissions. So it would have to be wind. So the answer is D. So if I highlight D, then you will know. So it's wind is the answer. So answer D. Okay. What type of component is a temperature sensor? Well, the best way to look at things is if something has the word sensor as part of its name, then that means it's normally an input. So, for example, your eyes, your ears, your skin, your nose are sensors for the human system. Okay, so if something has a temperature sensor, that means that it's trying to read the temperature in the atmosphere or environment, which then would be processed by the middle section, which is the processor, and then the output might be that there is an alarm if a temperature has reached too high a level, or if, for example, it is used to bring back down the temperature. So, for example, in an oven, you would have a temperature sensor to keep the temperature within a certain range. Okay, right. So it would have to be input device is a temperature sensor. Question three. Which of the following is a softwood? Well, softwoods, pine is a very, very common softwood, so it has to be D, pine, which means that ash, oak, and mahogany are hardwoods. And remember, hardwoods have broad leaves, and trees like pine, which are softwoods, normally are coniferous and they have needles as their leaves. Okay, so a social media advert is an example of. It's not a cooperative. Cooperative is a collection of people working together in an industry. Crowdfunding, it is not. It says advert. Fair trade is where producers of a good are given a fair price for their work. So it must be virtual marketing. So let's highlight virtual marketing. Okay, so the answer is D for question four. Which of the following best describes market pull? Well, market pull, technology push. Let's read through these. So products produced due to consumer demand. Okay, so that makes sense because the market is the consumer. So if consumers are demanding something, they will be pulling the market along. So the market will then have to produce a product to meet those needs. So, for example, people now want smartphones and want smartphones where they can watch, they can access the internet, send SMS messages, read their emails, and so on. So the answer is A. If it was the opposite for market pull is technology push. So, for example, now the new Samsung phones have come out. They're using graphene screens, which are bendable, so they can actually be folded up. So that would be, let's read through this. That would be products produced due to new funding becoming available, which it is not. Products produced due to new technology becoming available, would be technology push. Okay, right. So question six: which of the following is a synthetic fiber? Synthetic means it's been made artificially. It's been made from other components or resources. So we know that cotton comes from a plant. Elastane is probably a synthetic, but let's go through the silk. Silk is either comes from a silkworm or from spiders. Wool comes from sheep, so the answer is elastane. Okay, and elastane is very similar to thermoplastics or thermoforms or even some thermosets. Okay, so what is oscillating motion? Well, there are different types of motion. There is linear, which means a straight line. There is linear, which is a straight line. There's rotary, which is circular. There is reciprocating, which goes back and forth. Okay. And then there's oscillating, which is like a wave, like a curvy wave, which goes from side to side. Okay. So the answer would be side to side. When it swings from side to side, it's oscillating. Like a pendulum, for example, as well. Okay. So the answer is side to side. So this would be rotary. This would be reciprocating, and this would be linear. Okay. Which of the following is a thermoforming plastic or forming polymer? So let's break down the words. So thermoforming, thermo meaning heat, forming means to be shaped into, okay, and polymer means made up of more than one monomer chain. Okay, so epoxy resin is a thermoset. Okay, we can tell by the fact that it's got epoxy in there and it's a resin. So once you heat it up and you shape it up, you shape it, or when it cures, you can't reheat it and reshape it. Phenyl formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is a preservative. We know that formaldehydes are usually found in thermoset polymers. So phenyl formaldehyde is a thermoset. Polyvinyl chloride. Now, polyvinyl chloride (PVC) is the answer. It's thermoforming polymer. Okay, and urea formaldehyde, once again, if it's got formaldehyde in it or urea or resin, it's likely to be a thermoset. Okay, so that is a thermoset. So the answer is C for question 8. Okay, so what is the main purpose of lean manufacturing? Increase automation? No. To increase employment? Nope. Usually it means decrease employment, unfortunately. Reduce pollution? Possibly. And also to reduce waste. So it's more than likely to be to reduce waste, because part of the whole process is by reducing waste, you reduce pollution and you reduce costs and you bring efficiency. So usually lean manufacturing is about bringing efficiencies for the producer or the manufacturer to save money and time and energy. So the answer is to reduce waste. Okay. Question 10. So question 10, it says absorbency is a material's ability to take in and hold. It's not electricity. Okay, that would be to store electricity, which is like a battery. Heat. Things do absorb heat, but in this case, it's going to be to absorb liquid. Okay, so it's C. Okay, now explain why solar energy is increasingly being used to generate power. So let's type that up now. So we get the typewriter. Okay, and let's try and type in. So the first reason would be, okay, to reduce. Oops, let me turn that off and start again. To reduce reliance on fossil fuels. Okay. The next one would be leading to less carbon emissions. Okay. Next one would be using a clean energy source. Okay. And the next one would be to use a renewable energy source. Okay.